angry prayers, finding a way back when you have absolutely nothing left to give. The wind is howling, it's freezing outside, and a garden shovel is striking the ice on a driveway over and over and over again. Behind that shovel is someone completely drained. They are carrying the weight of round-the-clock caregiving, functioning on almost no sleep, and they have finally hit a wall. With every heavy swing at that ice, there is an equally sharp sentence directed straight up at the sky. It is a prayer, but it is entirely stripped of any polite reverence. It sounds like, "I cannot do this anymore. Why is all of this on me? You are asking for more than I have to give." It is raw resentment pouring out into the freezing air. We are often taught that talking to God requires bowed heads and quiet voices and carefully chosen words of gratitude. Screaming at the sky while hacking at a block of ice doesn't exactly fit that mold. But when responsibilities compound over months and years without relief, burnout physically rewires our emotional baseline. The capacity for quiet reflection vanishes, and the only fuel left to keep moving is pure, unfiltered anger. Directing that fury at God isn't a sign that faith has evaporated. When we have nothing left, throwing our actual, messy reality at Him is often the necessary first step toward finding solid ground again. To understand why we reach that breaking point, we have to look past the frozen driveway and examine what is happening inside an exhausted mind. This diagram shows how that emotional state is constructed. Right in the middle is that central feeling of anger. But that anger doesn't sit there alone. It gets wrapped up by a persistent thought, the idea that I deserve better than this. Exhaustion then adds a second layer. We start to tell ourselves that whatever strength or comfort God offers simply isn't enough to survive the current crisis. The isolation deepens. Finally, the mind seals it all in with a third assumption: nobody cares. It completely blocks off any possibility of outside support or community. Holding on to these specific thoughts doesn't actually relieve the burden of caregiving. It just locks the mind in place, turning temporary exhaustion into a state of permanent, paralyzing bitterness. If a state of burnout is held together by these psychological falsehoods, the only operational way to dismantle it is by introducing objective truth. Normally, our baseline for fairness is strict reciprocity. We put in hard work, and we expect a fair reward in return. We want exactly what we believe we have earned. This animated scale shows how God's response breaks our rules of human fairness. On one side is our resentment and anger, but instead of letting the consequences of that anger tip the scale, mercy intercepts that weight. Mercy is God actively withholding the punishment our bitterness actually deserves. Then grace enters the picture. As Psalm 86, verse 5 reminds us, God is abundant in steadfast love. Grace is Him placing total forgiveness and love onto our side of the scale, something we did absolutely nothing to earn. Processing these two concepts, the punishment withheld and the favor unearned, begins to erode the foundation of our bitterness. It is a slow, quiet shift where the demand for better starts to feel less like a right and more like a misunderstanding. Which brings us back to that freezing driveway, standing over a pile of cracked ice, lungs burning from the effort and the shouting. In the silence that follows, a profound reality sets in. God did not strike back. His capacity is entirely large enough to absorb your rawest, most aggressive frustration, and He still refuses to turn away from you. There comes a point where the effort to maintain that anger becomes heavier than the original burden. In that moment, the choice is about the sheer relief of loosening a grip that has been white-knuckled for too long. The book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 12, verse 9, states that His power is made perfect in weakness. It is exactly at the moment when your physical and emotional reserves hit absolute zero that divine strength actually has the room to operate. Security doesn't come from proving you can smash through the obstacles in your path. It comes from reaching out with empty hands, taking His, and trusting that He will clear the way forward when the time is right. Take a breath. If you are standing in your own freezing driveway right now, let's move away from the explanation and take these next 30 seconds to actually speak to Him. Lord, I am exhausted, and I confess that my frustration has turned into anger against you. Please forgive me for my outbursts and my entitlement. Right now, I choose to let go of my bitterness, and I actively accept the mercy and grace you are offering me. Thank you for absorbing my hardest moments without leaving me. Thank you for your complete forgiveness and for anchoring me in the truth that gives me the wisdom to keep going. Amen.